He leads me beside the still waters. This is the third part of the Devo on the 23rd chapter of Psalm. I've always been told not to swim in stagnant water because that's where pests are and there's bacteria in the water, and that it's safer to be in running water where it's clear. And yet this verse says that he leads us to still waters, and it's a different verbiage from last time where it said he makes us lie down in green pastures. Here's what still quiet waters means. It's a place where there's absence of all the things that we talked about last time. Turbulence, disturbance, noise. It's a place where there's stillness. In Isaiah 43, it says, when we pass through troubled waters or moving waters and even fire, he will be with us. And in this 23rd Psalm, it says he's going to lead us beside still waters. One translation says that these are waters of rest, is what it means, and that rest is a noun, implying that the shepherd himself is the source of the rest. So the ultimate place of rest for the sheep is the shepherd himself. He's the water. But back to my original statement, we know that still waters like shallow ponds can freeze easily. We know that pests linger over stagnant ponds. We know that mud can stir up from the bottom when you step in a shallow pond, making the water undrinkable. But yet we are called to still waters for the sheep. And we also know that running water scares sheep away. According to a study I read online by Deanna Harrison, sheep will drink from whatever pool they stumble upon without knowing if it's a good source. This is why the word leads is so important. The shepherd must be followed if the sheep want a good place to drink, a good source. They're not to stop and drink from other sources, but to follow where he leads. And sometimes the very best water sources are off the beaten path, down at the bottom of a mountaintop, or way hidden inside a deep cavern. So the sheep have to know the shepherd's voice in order to follow him and to quench their thirst. Rivers that flow are often inviting to some of us if we like to tube down the river, for example, but it would be hard to step out of a tube into rushing water and take a drink. And others of us find that a deep, still lake is the most peaceful spot. With a fishing pole in hand and a sunset in view, that's truly a place of rest. But wherever we find ourselves, either in the swift water and barely able to stand, or flowing down the river, or stuck in the mud of what we thought was a good place to drink, but it ended up being murky, the shepherd is constantly in front of us, gathering up stones that cause us to stumble and clearing a path to make a pool of clear, still water from which we are invited to drink. I still find it so interesting that this chapter starts out that we are to follow him in his lead and not that he makes us. You know that old saying, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink? Maybe that applies here. If we follow, he will lead us to rest in quiet places, because it's out of the rest and the quiet that we can then move forward in life behind the shepherd who always walks among us, never out of sight.